I have been experimenting with a new process for my artwork lately, and I wanted to share it with you. I've been making my pieces on watercolor paper and then adhering that to a wood panel, which you can see here. And it turns out really, really nicely and a lot more, I don't know, simple than I thought it would be. I first was really worried about what kind of adhesive I would use, if the paper would buckle. So I just wanted to share a video with you of what worked for me and how it went. So I chose to use Yes Paste. This is something that came recommended from a number of artist friends that I have, and as you can see, it is like serious stuff. It is very, very thick. Some of the reviews I had read when I was doing my research was that, it would seal the lid shut, so just make sure your lid is clean when you close it up and that kind of thing. So it's just really serious. It does apply clear, which is nice, but I had to use quite a bit of muscle to get it on there and spread it. And from what I read and researched, a little bit of this goes a long way, so I was really trying to not really glob it on too much and spread a thin layer. And all I did to prep my wood panel was I just wiped it down a little bit. Sometimes there's little particles that are left from the wood, little wood pieces and such. So I just made sure that was nice and clean. And then you can see I'm just kind of spreading it on here, and I'm having to push quite a bit. So with this stuff, I have to work at it a little bit. So I am especially paying attention to the sides and to the corners of this wood panel, because that's what one of my main concerns is when I apply paper to this. I didn't want it to roll up or crinkle or anything, or just start coming loose on the edges. So I am just really taking my time here and making sure that the entire panel is covered. This is a 8 by 11 inch panel here, so nothing too big. And by doing the artwork on watercolor paper, I really like that because it is a little thicker than your typical paper. So I was just really surprised when I did this the first time and I applied it to this panel using the Yes glue, that it really just kind of laid flat, and it was really seamless, which is what I was going for. So if you're trying this at home, or if you have done this kind of thing before, I would love any feedback or information that worked for you. And you can see I'm just checking to make sure I have the whole panel covered, again with a lot of focus on the edges and the corners. So once I have that good to go, I'm going to go ahead and grab my paper and lay that on top. A little something stuck in there, so make sure there's no particles left or pieces of your paintbrush that are stuck in the glue. You really want a clean surface to do this. Alright, so I'm grabbing my artwork here, and I'm just gonna start kind of making sure it's just perfectly lined up. So I've been starting kind of on the end, making sure one side is lined up. And before I put this on there, I did of course measure my paper to make sure that was 8 by 10 as well, so it would fit perfectly. I just grabbed a clean towel here and just carefully pressing down. I used some pencil in this artwork, so I didn't want anything that would rub and smear any of my marks. So really emphasizing the outsides by pushing those down carefully. And as long as the entire panel is covered, I'm good, because at the end I will go back and trim off anything that's overhanging. And then I went ahead and grabbed a piece of, this is matte board, so it's a little bit thicker. I made sure it was super clean, and I just put it right on top. And then I am using some clamps that we had in our garage that we use for some of our house projects. And I am just clamping each of the corners down here. These clamps are actually really great. I used them when I made some of my own frames back in the day with when I used some wood glue, and the clamps just really, really hold everything in place. And in this instance, it really will, create the amount of pressure that is needed to make my sheet of paper stick. And then I have this other kind, which is a little bit serious for what I'm doing here, but it works. I just have to pull it until it's completely tight. just checking the bottom a little bit to make sure that there's enough for it to grip onto to make sure it's totally secure. And then this should allow the correct amount of pressure to make sure the glue and the paper and everything is sandwiched perfectly together so that that glue can dry flat. So I just left it here for a day just to make sure everything dried okay. And then the next day I came back and here is the grand reveal. I took the clamps off. And then just pulled back that board. I just wanted to make sure that nothing was going to stick, which it didn't, which was good. And then there you have it. It is perfectly flat on there. There's no buckling. Like I said earlier, if it does overhang a little bit, I will trim it off with an X-Acto knife just to make sure that it matches the wood panel perfectly. But I'm really happy with this process, and I am excited to do some more pieces in this way. As usual, if you guys have any input, suggestions, or questions, feel free to leave a comment below or contact me on my website, and I will talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.